the news they got yesterday stinks as they go for a repeat this year. Super Bowl champs taking on the Detroit Lions tomorrow night at home. And Chiefs are laying 4.5 right now at DraftKings. The total moved all the way down to 52.5. Where we are broadcasting from every single day, the Chiefs have been now at 4 for a good 12 hours. Kelce, we'll find out probably a little bit more today with that hyperextended knee, what his exact status is going to be for the Thursday game. I'm going to guess he probably doesn't go. That's my guess, but I laid the 4 with the Chiefs.
Good for you. That's a good move because I think it's an overreaction with the point spread. But the Detroit hype coupled with no Jones and no Kelce, first things first, they thought maybe it was a torn ACL.
Yeah, I know.
That's the first thing. But they avoid that, so hopefully he'll be in there week 2. But the other thing is, it's how much does it matter because Mahomes is so good? You know, does the Rice kid go off? Is it a big game for Sky Moore? Or is it change the game plan and we're going to pound you on the ground as Detroit was god-awful defensively and couldn't stop the run either?
Yeah, may I remind people here?
Yeah.
I mean, this hype with the Lions is actually getting more out of control than the Colorado Buffaloes. So they were 1-6 last year, folks. 1-6. And before they turned it around. Great job by the organization. They nearly made the playoffs. But some of the points that they allowed last year to teams not named the Kansas City Chiefs, they gave up 38 to Philly, 27 to the Commanders, 28 to the Vikings. They gave up 48 to Seattle, 29 to New England, 31 to Minnesota again, 30 to Chicago. Oh, yeah, late at Carolina, they allowed 37 points on defense. Now they get Mahomes, and it's like, hey, Travis Kelsey might not play. People were like looking, searching, begging to bet the Lions, and then this news comes out. They're like, I got to bet them. They're going to win the game. I love them. Mm-hmm. I think that this is a bigger overreaction, seriously, than Deion Sanders in Colorado right now.
Yeah, very good. Not to mention, I have Mahomes and Andy Reid week 1, and I have Andy Reid with all that time to prepare. He hasn't lost week 1 since 2014. Last year, 44-21, 33-29, 34-20. 40-26, 38-28, 42-27 with Alex Smith in Belichick's house, 33-27 and 27-20. So much like Harbaugh, Andy Reid's been incredible in season openers as well. And you're exactly right. Now, it's funny that the Lions have played 12 straight week 1 overs, but people are forgetting, much like the Chicago Bears, how bad they were defensively. So is it just more of doesn't matter who's hurt, Mahomes will pick you apart, and then we'll kind of change things now and gas you on the ground, which I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, these two teams, you mentioned the Lions, they're at 12-0 going back to the week 1 opener on the over. They're combined, these two teams, 19-0-1 to the over. Going back in week 1. Yeah. So how has Mahomes done without Travis Kelsey? Well, there's a very small sample size because Kelce has been the cornerstone here, the main target for not only him, but it goes back to Alex Smith because he's been there for a decade now. He rarely, if ever, misses games. This will be, if he misses tomorrow night, it will be the first game he's missed due to an injury since his rookie year in 2013. He missed a couple of games due to rest and one game due to COVID back in 2021. But here is Patrick Mahomes, the 2 games that he has played without Travis Kelsey. The first game was the first ever start by Mahomes late in his rookie season when they were playing the Broncos. He was 22 of 35 for 284, no touchdowns and an INT. In that game, Albert Wilson had 10 catches for 147 yards. So he found ways to get the ball to other players when Kelce was not in there. And then a couple years ago it was the year after COVID, but COVID was still keeping people out of games. It was December of 2021. They played Pittsburgh. Mahomes, 23 of 30, 258 yards, 3 touchdowns, no INTs, quarterback rating of 135. In that game, final score 36-10. Pringle, 6 for 75 and 2 touchdowns. Hardman, 3 for 31 and 1 touchdown. Derek Gore out of the backfield ran the ball 12 times. He also had 3 catches for 61 yards. So he was just fine against Pittsburgh with no Travis Kelsey. They won by 26 points.
You can't be surprised if we come in Friday and they win the game and they score in the mid-30s. Or it's Gray who has a big performance, or he just spreads it around because he's that good. And What's could be a bigger issue, though, is maybe Kelce misses a game or two, is what's going to happen with Chris Jones, which they're not even close, according to reports. So when is this guy coming in? And if this guy's prepared to sit out the first 8 games, and you don't have him for almost half the season, that's another big blow, too.
Well, certainly. I mean, the combination here, Paulie, scares me more than anything else. Kelce is certainly worth something to the number. He has to be. He's so good as a tight end and the number one option there for Mahomes.
Doesn't even run routes.
No, he doesn't. He just goes and finds a spot, posts up, and bam, he's going to be open somehow. Mahomes gets him the ball.
Yeah, the playoff win against Jacksonville. He's not even doing anything.
But it would be a combo here of Kelce, Tony, and then Jones, obviously. And even if Jones plays and they get him in somehow tomorrow night, what is he going to give the team?
Right.
Like how many, we talked about that with Michael Lombardi on Monday, like how many snaps does Jones go out there and actually give him? A handful, 10, whatever it might be. And how impactful would he be? Maybe not so much. But it would be like the cluster there. That would scare me more than anything else. But offensively, this team is going to be, they'll be against that defense. We just rattled off everything that they allowed last year. Are we supposed to believe that this team's going to go to Casey against that guy and say, yeah, we're going to shut you down to 17, 20 points? He'll spread it around. He'll find ways McKinnon will do something offensively in the game. Could be Pacheco on the ground, like you said.
Yep, wouldn't be surprised. Well, the other thing is, too, it's a tough place to play. And he was awesome last year, but it's a tough assignment for Goff as well. Now, they just feed St. Brown. Does he have a big game? But, they also have a lot of guys out with these suspensions that they have to deal with the shenanigans in the offseason. So you also have 2 new running backs. It'll be interesting to see what Detroit looks like and if they struggle early on offensively with some of the changes.
Now, I understand that the Patriots had a really good defense last year. They're going to have a really good defense again this year, better than the Chiefs. Lions were blanked on the road last year against New England, 29-0. Also, I brought up that Carolina game. That's when they allowed 37 on December 24th. 37 points on the road to the Panthers. Now, the Panthers were playing better ball. I understand that. But that's...
It's on the ground. I mean, Mitch, they gave up 5 yards of carry.
Oh, yeah, absolutely they did.
That's why maybe the game plan changed, and it's like, okay, well, we'll just kill them on the ground.
The probably the best game the defense or the team played overall down the stretch, arguably, was November 20th. They played at the Giants, and they won 31-18. If I recall correctly, they were in charge of that game pretty much from the get-go.
Yeah.
The Lions were.
They also, I thought they closed strong at Lambeau to finish the season.
Oh, for sure. No doubt.
Yes.
No doubt. You can't forget about that. It's, especially to keep that team out of the playoffs. So, but the 1-6 start, again, did exist. It's like people forgot about that. Now, again, to Campbell, awesome job. Goff played maybe he had the best year of his career. But I think we're getting a little too far out of control with this number right now.
Totally agree. You got to lay the 4. With Andy Reid, with all this time to prep, and it's Andy Reid against Aaron Glenn. You know how this is going to go Thursday, and they're still going to move the ball. And the other thing, the Lions are in our top 5 list, too, for most tortured fan base.
No, this they have to be.
Yeah, you have one playoff win since the 60s. So this fits about all the hype, and for the first time since 93, you're favored to win the division, and that maybe things wouldn't go your way, although you catch a break early, but that's just too much hype, and you can't live up to it, and you don't make the playoffs.
Yeah. This team, I grew up in the Midwest, in the state of Wisconsin, but even when they had Brett Favre in the 90s, I paid attention more closely to the Lions because I loved Barry Sanders, loved him, so I watched him every single week. I'm not even from the state. I can't imagine what it was like to live through the Barry Sanders and Kelvin Johnson years. And even when you had Matthew Stafford and Kelvin Johnson, they could not even come close to getting that corrected. And then when they would make the playoffs with Matthew Stafford, they'd get blasted in those games. And then with Barry, they just botched it year after year after year. They couldn't get it right with the personnel. The head coaches were a laughingstock. And
they paid Scott Mitchell all that money?
Oh, yeah, absolutely they did.
That's right.
They had to, right?
Yeah.
Brought in Bobby Ross because he won the national title at Georgia Tech. Wayne Fonts.
Yeah.
Did he have any idea what he was doing as a head coach? And the total now, what do you think of that? Down to 52.5.
I don't want the under. I don't.
A lot of people evidently did.
Yeah. I don't. I think it's a big overreaction here to what happened, and it's just that I don't think it matters who this guy's throwing to. As long as he has all this time to get familiar with the new wide receivers, he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And Andy Reid just being a veteran in his Week 1 track record and the fact that he wins a division every year, okay, no problem.
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe we're going to find out today that Kelce, again, no good for the game. It could be no good for week 2. Who knows? And maybe a more realistic timetable would be week 3.
Yeah, they go to Jacksonville week 2. That's a tough game.
Of course it is.
So if they don't have him and Chris Jones, all of a sudden, like, wait a second now. But do you trust the other teams in that division? I said to you before, because I have over 3.5 division wins at minus $2. I said they should still be able to sweep the Raiders and sweep Denver, even if these guys are out. I don't care. So it gets over there. But how would it go? Chargers always play him tough. But it's still, I mean, he'll just surprise everyone tomorrow and spread it around, and it'll be no problem.
Visit VSiN.com to get current odds, listen for free, find showtimes, and download VSiN sports betting podcasts.